Hey guys, Clint Coons here, and in this video, we're going to talk about how do you protect assets other than real estate, personal assets. All right, let's get started. Okay, so let me just give you some backstory here. A number of years ago, one of our legal secretaries in our office came to me with this issue. She was woken up on a Saturday morning at 7 o'clock with someone just beating on the door. She goes downstairs, opens the door, and here's this woman who is just rabid, angry, and demanding that she turn over all of my employees' vehicles. So my employee had a couple cars, had a trailer, a boat, and she's standing there and she says, "Give me those vehicles. They belong to me." She's looking at her saying, "You're crazy." She goes, "Those are mine." She goes, "No, I'm not. Look, I have titles for all of those vehicles." And sure enough, she had a title for her boat, her trailer, and her vehicles. Now, what had happened? This individual who was deranged found my employee's information and was able to go onto the DMV and transfer title over to herself. So she was able to take what she found and then turn that into her own personal assets on the public records by having certain information that is publicly available. Now, this was a concern, and we got it all straightened out, of course, got the titles cleared up, but what we did then after the fact is we held title going forwards in a different way, in which when my employee is, should you ever be in that situation again, if there's a crazy person out there trying to take from her, they're never going to know that she owns these assets because they're no longer titled in her name. And this is what it takes when you want to protect personal property that you own that's a titleable asset. In order to gain protection for it, you have to get it out of your name. And the best tool to utilize for this type of protection is what I refer to as a personal property trust. Now, a personal property trust is a trust that you set up. It's similar to, think of it like a land trust, okay? You got to come up with a name for it. So we can call this one the You Don't Want This Trust, all right? So that's the name of your trust. You don't want this trust. And of course, you have to have a trustee for that trust. So it can be you, it could be an LLC that you set up that gives you, of course, anonymity. Wouldn't want to use yourself, but you could be you. But anyways, you got to come up with a name for the trust, and then you choose a trustee. Could be a nominee trustee. I've served as nominee trustees before in these types of trusts. Now, the personal property trust is like the land trust in that you're going to be the beneficiary down here and of this trust, and then you would be the successor trustees if you're using a nominee trustee over here, or possibly you've got a Wyoming LLC that you set up as your trustee that you control. So whatever the case is, this is the basic nature of it. So this entity gets set up, and now what you'll do is you'll change the title to personal property assets. So for example, you got a car. You want that car out of your name so no one knows on the DMV who owns it? Put it in your personal property trust. You don't want this trust. That's what's going to go on title. If you have a boat that you don't want someone to know that you own, put your boat inside of that trust. RVs can go inside of this trust as well. So with a personal property trust, they're designed to hold personal property. Now, what about your checking account? Should you use this trust for your checking account? You could. I would probably set up a second trust for my personal checking account. So now you create this personal property trust over here and you put your checking account into it. When you go down, I just actually opened up a trust account the other day with Chase Bank, and I set it up. Again, it didn't have my name on it. I came up with an obscure name for it. And when we opened up the account, he asked me, he goes, "Well, how do you want your checks to read?" I said, "Well, put the checks in my name, but for title holding purposes, that is not, the account is not in my name. It's in the name of this trust. You don't want this trust is what it would be called." So now my checking account's held there. Why would I want to do that? Well, one, a potential fraud. If somebody gets your personal information and wants to steal your identity and they're trying to find any accounts that are in your name, well, that's no longer in your name. It's in a trust name. If you get a personal judgment against you and an individual wants to take that judgment and they figured out, hey, they saw your checks that you bank at Chase Bank or Wells Fargo or Bank of America, and they go down there to record the judgment, what is referred to as a writ of garnishment, and they go after your account, Well, the account's not in your name. They have a judgment against you, not against your trust, so they can't get after your personal checking or personal savings that are held in this trust with that writ of garnishment that they have on you individually. So when it comes to personal assets, setting up these trusts, all you're doing is removing title from your name. What about it from a tax standpoint? Okay, they're all disregarded. There is no tax issue with these trusts. Okay, whenever you open up the accounts and they ask you whose taxpayer identification number, not the trust, your social security number. So taxes are irrelevant. Everything, it's like you still own them. What about asset protection? Because I get this a lot. People will put comments on my videos. They say, well, Clint, I don't understand the asset protection here. If you say if I get sued, they can take my assets with a personal property trust. Absolutely they can. Meaning this, that if they force you into a debtor's exam and bring you in and they're going after your assets and they tell you to describe every trust you're a beneficiary on, remember, these trusts are grantor trusts. They offer zero asset protection from creditors. None. If you have an aggressive creditor that wants to pull you through that procedure, they're going to find out about these assets. They're going to be able to go after them. So then why am I telling you this offers asset protection, you might be wondering? Because a lot of people don't go that far when they're suing people. They get a judgment against them and then they try to find the assets that are held in their name just by recording the judgment in the county and hoping it sticks, or they file a writ of garnishment with the bank hoping you have an account there. They don't go to supplemental proceedings and go through a debtor's exam. So from an asset protection standpoint, it keeps your name off of the title, so those little sticky types of judgments that people come after you with just by doing the simple recording won't attach to this. It also keeps the assets out of your name so people don't know what you have. If they did an asset search and they're trying to determine, do you own any vehicles? What are the VIN numbers on them? Now you've got them out of your name, it won't pop there. So think of it as a smokescreen. You can't sue what you can't see, or you can't take what you don't know they have. And this is what we're doing. It'll never protect you against aggressive creditors that take you to that nth degree. But fortunately for us, most people don't go there because it's not worth the cost for them. They go for the lowest hanging fruit. You got a choice. You want to be the lowest hanging fruit? Keep it all in your name. If you want to do something simple, use a personal property trust. It's a very inexpensive way to get your name off of title for your personal assets. All right, guys, take care.